What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan and this is Decode Your Reality. Today we're doing one on the title, the word war. W-A-R. There's a very specific reason why I'm doing a video on war, because it really looks like we're at war. We've been at war. And it's very possible that we will be headed officially into war. With everything going on in our world today, it looks that way. It looks that way. We're going towards that. So what I'm going to show you today is who creates the wars. Now, obviously, you'd say, well, man does. Well, is that really the truth? Is that what you believe? Is that what you're told? Is that what you see? But remember, man, so there are things that happen we don't see behind the veil. And that's what we're going to get into today. This is War Decoded. So my methods of decoding, most of you know, I use numerology, the spoken word. We tie that into alchemy, which is the blending of the words using magic and the spoken word. You can also measure things in pi, and we have a picture aspect with the tarot and the cards of illumination. Today I'll also be bringing in the animal tarot. This is important. And of course, last but not least, common sense. So really, I started to investigate war, and it always involves the Bible. So if you're a Bible believer, well, you're going to enjoy this presentation. You may not like what I have to say, but nonetheless, I'm bringing the Bible into this because it's important. And you can go through mainly the Old Testament, because the Old Testament was based on fear. The New Testament was based on love, and there's your dualistic nature. But nonetheless, this gives you a lot of renditions of wars in the Old Testament. And who was behind those wars? That's what I'm interested in. Again, is man doing it alone? I don't think so, and I'm going to show with supporting evidence that is exactly the case. So, war is a three-letter word. It only has one vowel. It has two consonants, and we could decode that, the W and the R. We could leave the A out. You get 62, and, that's linked to specific pieces on the periodic table. But nonetheless, war becomes a 17.011 through alchemy. So we use the atomic weights here, we go over to the trusty calculator, we add them up, and we get 17.011. That's how we say that, 17.011, and then look what the outcome is through numerology when we place it into the cipher. It becomes the yin and yang, the 9 and 6, which is the reason why I have the chess pieces right here in the background, because this is your yin, this is your yang. That's exactly what this means. That's what the black and white is. And then if we use the tarot to measure war from alchemy and numerology, we get the star card, the 17th card, and the justice card. And then, of course, using numerology even further, the star justice equals 47, which I keep showing over and over and over that this is no fluke, and these are patterns. And the word tetragrammaton, which is the title used for the four-letter name of the Israelite God, which is rather the origin of it. It probably goes back even further than that, but the YHVH. So keeping that in mind, and I have plenty more to show on that, But let's go a little bit further. The 17011 was the outcome of war through alchemy. And then if we use the elements of the periodic table to tie into that 17 and 11, we get chlorine and sodium. Going over to the trusty calculator, adding up their most abundant atomic weights, we get 57.959. And then once again, we get a 96 yin and yang. 57959 is 96. The yin and the yang, the black and the white, which is what this matrix reality is all about. Who's behind the 96? Or what's behind the 96? What's behind war? What is behind it? Let's keep going further. This scripture to me in the Old Testament, Isaiah 45 verse 7, speaks loud and clear as to what's going on. And this scripture, this is the King James Version, I will digress and say it does not matter. It does not matter what version of the Bible that you choose to use. It's all the same thing. It's just packaged differently. I can decode any version, the New International Version. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. So let me get that straight. Okay, this is all the same thing. Isaiah 45:7, I form the light, create darkness. I make peace, create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. I think it's pretty clear as to what is creating the wars. What is creating the evil? What is creating the peace? It's the classic villain and superhero, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. You know, Luke Skywalker had a blue lightsaber, Darth Vader had a red one. That is the red shift, blue shift. Black and white. The dualistic yin and yang. That is what this scripture is telling you. And of course, you know, using the English ordinals, Isaiah 45:7 becomes a 63. And that is the YHVH, 63. What is it you see? Here's quite a bit of information. Stick with me on this. I form the light, create darkness. I make peace, create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Keep in mind, Isaiah is a 47, which I've been showing over and over. That's the tetragrammaton. But again, it's a 63. There is the tetragrammaton, the four-letter name of the ancient Israelite God, Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, or Yahweh, or Jah, or Jehovah. It's all the same thing. All religions worship the same deity. It is the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. Like it or not. Here it is in Hebrew, this scripture in Hebrew. I form the light and create darkness. This is in Hebrew. And when we decode that, ladies and gentlemen, we get 470, which is the 47, which is silver, which is the tetragrammaton. This is the very reason, ladies and gentlemen, why they called it Washington, D.C., why it's called the White House, why their college right down the street from the White House is called Georgetown. Look at even 47 equals 47. It has got a strong tie. Why do you think they called these places the way they called them? Do you think there was any influence to the people that decided they would call it the White House? Who came up with the name White House? Somebody made a decision to call it White House. Someone made a decision to call it Georgetown. Someone made a decision to call the nation's capital Washington, D.C. Never mind its District of Columbia. We could decode that, but this is what everybody refers to it as. 47 is where it's at, and I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the very reason why Washington, D.C., the government, is all related to the Israelite God, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. Even 470, which was the outcome of this scripture in Hebrew, it appears at the 119th decimal digit of pi. Do you think that when we press 911, do you think that the very reason why things happen on 911, if you can remember in history why they happen that way, who do you think they're paying tribute to? Who's getting all the energy? I mean, you know, here is the Yod He Vav He in Hebrew, it's 10,565. It equals a 26. And, the word God equals 26, which is what most everybody refers to what they consider God. They call it God. God this, God that. I pray to God. Well, who are you praying to? Who are you praying to? The 26th element is iron. That has an atomic weight of 55, and 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number. And 10 is the Yod in the Hebrew alphabet. The 10th letter is the Yod, this is where Yoda and Darth Vader came from, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it came from, the origin of where it came from. So, who are you praying to? Who's creating the wars? We're going to get into that a little bit more. Romans 13:1, the New Testament now. This one's, this to me is like God, reading this, I cringe, because it's like, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. They're speaking of the government. Even the New International Version says, pay attention, or you be in subjection to the governing authorities. They even straight out come out and say you need to be in subjection to the government. There's no power but of God, and the powers are ordained by God. Ordained, instituted. Ordained means, it was in place by God. This is the big word right there. This equals 424, by the way. There's 96 letters in this entire scripture. 25, the words 9-6 equal 25. So right there you have a yin-yang, which means it's a perfectly balanced scripture. And, 424 is the numerology outcome, and it appears at the 1,109th decimal digit of pi, which is another 911. We just saw that right here. That the 470 appears at the 119 decimal digit. Well, you just add on a 0 here. And this is New Testament. This is Old Testament, this is New Testament. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Bible thumper, if you're a religious person and you put all your faith in the Bible, which most people don't even have a clue what it means, what it says. But that means you accept both Old and New Testament. You cannot change this. This is unchangeable right here. And if you study the Hebrew, the tetragrammaton is Yahweh. But yet people don't refer to it as Yahweh. They just call it God. But the origins are Yahweh, which starts with the letter Y, which again is the Yod. If you are a Bible believer, this is your God right here. Period. There's no room for debate. This is unchangeable. I didn't write it. I didn't come up with it. I'm just showing you the truth, man. Just showing you the truth. Here's the Romans 13:1. It does not matter what version you use. New International, New Living, English Standard. They're all going to be the same things. Governing authority. Authorities above, instituted by God, established by God, appointed by God, ordained by God. That means that the governments are established by God. So who's God? It's right. The origins of God are the Yod He Vav He, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Especially if you people put your faith in the Bible. You have no clue who you're praying to. It's just really funny, man. Romans 13:1, breaking it down alchemically, the entire name, chapter and verse. Go over to our trusty calculator. We get the 74.041. That's what it adds up to. And 74041 is 108. And the element that has an atomic weight of 108 is yet again the 47. That is silver. And 47 is tetragrammaton. White House, Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, who do you think runs the White House? Who do you think runs your governments? Who do you think runs Washington, D.C.? It's the same thing that runs the Bible, folks. There's no difference. 74, the word Jesus equals 74 in the English ordinal, which is the Yod son. They're one and the same. They may be separate entities, but they're one and the same. Breaking down 7, 4, and 41. We got this for a total on Romans 13:1. 7, 4, and 41. These are the two elements making that up if we want to go deeper. Go over to the trusty calculator, add up the atomic weights, we get 286.857. 286.857 equals 106, and silver, of course it has a few weights. Here's one of them, equals 106. Silver has a weight of 106. How about that? Do you see how strong these are, ladies and gentlemen? These are embedded in nature. There's no fudging this. There's no trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with this. I'm not stretching. I'm not trying to make it work. This is exactly how the matrix works. And that's why Washington, D.C. equals the same as the Tetragrammaton. That is the 4-letter name of God, which is the Yod, He, Va, He. That's what runs your government. You know, time to wake up. Time to wake up. Going back to the Old Testament, here's a scripture talking about war, Psalms 68:30. I have it highlighted on the standouts. You know, rebuke the company, the multitude of the bulls with the calves of the people, till everyone submit himself with pieces of silver. Could have chose any other name, but nope, it says silver. Well, the 47th element is silver. And folks, it's loud and clear what the 47 is. It is the Yod He Vah He. When we break down 47, because we can simplify it even more, here are its two elements that are kind of, maybe we could call them cousins, beryllium and nitrogen. And when we add those up using alchemy, we get the outcome 23.015. 23015. Yet again, we get a yin-yang, 96. 23 is a big standout because in numerology, if you go look this up, go fact check it. This is old. 23 is called the royal star of the lion. That is the mirror of the 96, the 69, one and the same. It's the very reason why Michael Jordan wears the number 23. It's the reason why LeBron James wears the 23. It's all linked to the Tetragrammaton. So, folks, what did you see? What did you see during this presentation? Maybe I missed something. I always miss things. And I always rely on everyone watching and supporting this work, because each and every one of you is inside these videos. I have learned so much through your eyes and your expressions. I'm just one observation point. But I think it's loud and clear what's running your government. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, the interesting part, I see all of you like supporting these crooked people in Washington, D.C. and thinking they're gonna get you out of a situation, or you're putting faith, or let's say prayers for the president, when you have no clue what this all means. You think this thing's gonna help, is gonna save you. You think the government's gonna help you when we're all just slaves, when you don't even understand how this matrix works. You don't understand how this matrix works. You just were programmed, and you were born into this matrix like we all are, and you just fell into the beliefs of what somebody told you. Maybe this is the first time you're seeing this, but I mean, if you're putting your faith into the higher powers, the government, and the government's crooked, well then what does that tell you? You know, we're going to be going to war soon, ladies and gentlemen. We've already done it twice on the world wars. It looks like we're moving towards World War III. It's a possibility. Who do you think's creating it? You think it's some terrorist in the Middle East, or you think it may be somebody out there, some nation, you know, that wants to go to. What's the point of war? It's because someone has a disagreement. But who's running it from behind the scenes? Who's orchestrating it? You just think it's man alone? You're just going to call it a day? Not in my watch, not in my book anyway. I got supporting evidence here showing you exactly what it is, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what's creating your wars from behind the scenes. It feeds off of that energy. Well, that's all I got for today. My name's Logan. This is Decoded Reality. Thanks for watching.